I'm Bill.
And I'm Candace.
And we were the Disruptors.
What do you mean were?
Well, we can't disrupt this lady because today we have a special guest that's going to disrupt the construction business.
Oh, so you're telling me that she's a modern day hero and she's changing the face
of the construction industry. That is correct.
Well, she really is a hero in our eyes. She's not only a woman, she's a veteran, she's a mom, and we're proud to present Stephanie Prosser of Prosser Construction. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. Wow.
Yes.
Quite an introduction.
Oh, my goodness. What happened? We drug him back in again?
Well, we did.
Oh, that's nice. You should lock the door.
Well, you know, the producer and everything.
It's nice to have you here, I guess.
Yes.
Always waiting for my pink check. Yes. Anyway,
we've left Patty. Patty's not in the studio today.
She's done, and
she's
Roger's
out there
quiet.
sleeping.
He's busy checking in cars. That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Make sure we get our parking tickets all validated. I notice he puts his little chicken foot, onto the table like so. Our producer's taking track of the noise this morning. Have you noticed that? That's excellent.
He's here, the hall monitor.
Yes, he is.
Welcome to the show, hall monitor Chris.
Thank you.
So
good to be here.
It's good to be here.
You walked over me.
Well, of course, I have to. It's my job. Just produce.
I don't remember
let's
having
roll
to
on.
pay you for walking over me.
I don't either. It's your turn. Let's talk about her and not about who here.
Boy, the camaraderie in here. It's just a love fest, right? So, Stephanie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm sure you probably want to hear the construction part of it. I've been doing construction now for about 8 years. I got into it about 8 years ago when I left the military. I was a contractor when I got out. I did the same thing, making a little bit better money, and I was not married or had any kids, so I was able to save a bunch of money.
Sure.
And then that was during the crash, so I bought 3 properties when I came back home.
Wow.
And I loved HGTV before it was crazy like it is now. So I caught it on the start of it, yes. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to put these houses back together myself. YouTube came about. You could do anything with YouTube.
That's true. You still can.
Yes. So I bought these houses and they didn't need a lot of work. Minimal, stuff. So I YouTubed and figured it out on my own.
Sure. Wow.
And I learned a lot of hard lessons the expensive way.
You bet. Well, I always say you pay for your education one way or another.
Yes, I did.
Isn't that the truth?
But that's how you learn. That's the best way of learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I met my other half during that time, and he's pretty construction oriented. So I learned a lot from him. He's a huge tiler. There's a lot of tile and stuff like that. So I learned a ton from him, and we learned a lot through YouTube as well, the hard way.
Through YouTube as well. Well, Google will be happy to hear that.
That's how I got in construction.
It's amazing because I looked up some of the facts and figures. Did you know, Candace, that there's only 19% of the women in construction that are generals? And around here, there's maybe 2 or 3 in the state of Washington that are even known as women contractors that are general contractors.
No,
so
I didn't know
we have a
statistic.
special person today.
I was actually surprised by the 19%. I've only met one.
Yeah, it's 19%. That's nationwide.
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting situation. And the failure rate of women contractors is double what it is for men.
And isn't that generally within the first 5 years?
That is
5 to 8 years, yes. They usually give up.
Look at that.
Well, construction is not a lighthearted industry. So it's definitely a man's world, you know, if we were going to look at gender specifics.
Yes,
and so,
you have to be tough.
You do.
And I'm getting tougher every day. I have to grow thick skin every day. I'm very nice and easygoing, but I'm learning to be a little. That's why I say my skins get a little tougher. I have to get a little tougher every day to keep up.
Kind of have to employ that military training, don't you?
You do. Yes, you do. Yes, I have been. If you're nice, people take advantage of you a little too much. So
I like to say, don't confuse my kindness as a weakness.
Yes.
So what kind of, now you're a general contractor, what are you specializing in?
So I started out with, doing my own flips. I just went residential 2 years ago. So that was just because the market was changing. Everybody was becoming an investor. It gets so hard to get a property. So I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do something else. I left my corporate job, I'm doing this full time. So I decided to do residential, and I was only doing residential. But in the last year, I really started balancing, not putting all my eggs in one basket. So I do insurance work, and I also do property managers. I do a lot of work orders for, people, moving in and out of properties. So I kind of do a little, I would say at this point, I probably do more insurance work than I do anything else. But I still do a lot of residential remodeling. I do a lot of kitchens. I want to say people have their niche. Mm-hmm. And your niche finds you. So my niche found me. I didn't realize that was my niche. I've learned that through the last about 1.5 years and being a part of Ignite You. A lot of people come to me and they don't know what they want. They're like, I want to do this. And it's like, but I only have like $20,000. I say, these people have, a Cadillac Vision on a Ford Focus budget, especially when it comes to kitchens.
Right.
So I'm very good, since I came from flipping background, what you can do with your money. Like, I'm very honest and I have a lot of integrity, and I feel like that makes me very different in this industry. So I will tell people, don't do that. It's not worth your money. Or let's do this, this, and this. Or, a lot of people are selling their houses right now. So I just give a lot of information and guidance, and it helps people make a lot of their decisions on what they're trying to do and what they can and can't do based on the budget that they have. And a lot of people don't spend that amount of time. I'll spend hours sometimes with people trying to educate and help them figure out what they want to do. So
in this particular market, I'll bet you the hardest thing to do is to justify your pricing when you get ready to do a bid or a quote against the competition.
Yes, it is. There's a shortage of contractors, but there's also a lot of contractors, and a lot of them they're not licensed, bond, insured. So, I always tell people, at least get 3 bids. You should absolutely get 3 bids. But if there's one that's thousands and thousands of dollars below the other 2, there's a reason. I try to educate people. Go to L&I. It takes 5 minutes to make sure they're licensed, bond, insured. It'll say if they're suspended, if they have anything going on, people filed against them. It takes 5 minutes.
Very true. And I know that there's a lot of what we call paper contractors, which don't know a hammer from a slide rule, but have a golden gift of gab, which gives a creativity, and then they move in and
it works for some people. Some people don't have the budget, and they can only afford people that aren't licensed, bond, insured. And if that's what they can afford, you often get what you pay for. And sometimes I always say you get a bag of problems with that and issues, but if that's your budget, that's your budget. So I get that too. But yes, it is very hard because it's expensive.
I think you pay for it one way or another, because if they're not licensed and bonded, I can't begin to tell you how many times people have told me that, oh my gosh, this general contractor took our money. And you'll go, did you ask? Did you see? Did you do due diligence? And they say no. And it's kind of like, okay, so you set yourself up to fail, and you don't have any money now to replace what you've already been taken for. And no, of course, no one can find Bob the Builder, because Bob is in a bar somewhere.
Right. I hear it a lot. I'm actually going out to a bid this week where they got taken for $10,000. It happens all the time. And when they're not licensed, bond, insured, you can't go after them. You're screwed. You can't. If they're at least licensed, bond, insured, and they took your money, or you're upset, you can call L&I. You can go after their bond. You can do something when they don't even exist, because you didn't spend the 5 minutes to look them up. You're just out that money, which is terrible. It breaks my heart.
Bill and I've had individuals that have come to us, business owners, that we've ran and seen if they even had a business license.
Right.
We have been shocked, have we not?
We have, very much so. And
it's like, and then Bill, in one in particular, confronted the gentleman because he thought that he had been lied to and that he was being deceived, and Bill was going to help him out. And whenever he brought it to him, he's talking about, first of all, the whole ride over, because we had gone to a networking meeting. So the whole ride over, he was like, oh, I'm going to, this man doesn't know. He looks so honest and nice and on. Well, whenever he told him, the guy goes, oh yeah, I know.
Oh my goodness.
Bill was madder than a wet the whole ride. Okay, so he was worried the whole ride there, and then he was acting very excited the whole home back.
Yes,
complaining. But
I don't complain. I make simple statements.
You bitch.
That's correct.
Okay, so now that we've got that out in the air, what has been, Stephanie, your most rewarding job that you've done?
Oh, that's tough. I like the houses because I work with some other investors, and I get to do their whole house. I love doing the whole project.
Thing, huh?
It takes more time. which, in business, that's not your biggest moneymaker per se, but I love to come into, I also call them dumps, because they truly are dumps. Like, most of these houses, hoarders have lived in them. And it's like you see the before and then after. It's like to see what you've done in your mind.
Creative.
Yeah, like, because you see what it can be, and then you get to see it when it's done. It's just so satisfying to me that I love doing that. So, and the same with my own flips, but I've been doing more for other people than myself. But that's probably the best, the funnest. And that's with a lot of jobs, even insurance jobs. I come in after it's torn apart, and I get to put it back together, and then I get to sit back and see it. So it's really
makes
fun.
it interesting, doesn't it?
It does. It's very rewarding.
I think the other aspect of it is, I know you don't do too much of it, but the other aspect is when a homeowner says, I've got this lot and this is the dream that I want.
Yes,
and
I want to go there.
Yes.
That's my 3-year goal. My 3-year goal is to go there. Right now, I'm developing my processes and streamlining everything. Mm-hmm. And once I have that set, that's my next mark, because I have a lot to learn about that side of it. So,
what is your favorite thing to do as far as hands-on? Is it mill trim? I know you said roofing was out of your category.
No,
totally, I see.
Not roofing.
But
I like tile.
Tile.
Mm-hmm. Tile is like art to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be. Mm-hmm.
In our one of our mine and mother house first true gut flip, we lived in it. That's how we saved the money to, we lived in it with a newborn. Very fun. But we did some crazy tile, and he taught me how to do tile, and my father-in-law is a master tiler, so I've learned so much about it. It's fun. It's exciting picking it out and doing. There's so many different patterns you can do and inlays to make it truly a piece of art. So tile is definitely
I love tile.
I do
it's
too.
Just a clean look. I mean, and it doesn't have to be cold here in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
So, but the shower. I remember I was of course not around here, I was up at Lake Tahoe at Incline Village, and was doing some homes up there, some design work.
Yeah.
And I had some of the most funnest projects, but probably one of the most unique. There were 2 homes. One, when you walked into it, it had all the floor when you walked in from the foyer on was all in this gold onyx. And if you've ever seen a floor done in gold onyx, first of all, you go cha-ching. The second thing is you're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to scratch their floor, because onyx is very soft.
Oh my goodness.
And so there's a reason why they had a bunch of booties. And the
the door, I'll bet.
At the door,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm. And then it was definitely a show home. And there's a difference, right? I mean, there's a work home and there's a show home.
Yep.
And
there's a plastic tarp in the corner.
Is that what you're living in now?
Close to it, yes.
Well, we always talk about your tenants. Has
That's
the DEA been out?
No,
recently?
Not lately. No. But we have
I think,
assigned
Stephanie,
a parking
they need
spot.
you over there where Bill's at. Yeah, that's actually not far from the truth. And I'm not lying about the DEA, nor the FBI, nor the local sheriff, or the Puyallup Police Department showing up.
Pharmaceutical research expanded in the neighborhood. Let's leave it at that.
Oh, is that what we're calling it? Okay.
Awesome.
Yes, let's leave it at that. But we have pinstriped a lovely parking spot for them now, so that they can
if you want your
park.
car stolen, just park it over there by Bill.
Oh my God, poor Bill.
She had 2 homes that she
Yeah,
lived.
and so the second one, you'll love this, because the second one leads up to the master suite. And when you go up, it's a kind of a spiral staircase, but what there is that there's all rockery, right, on the wall that leads to a fountain, that leads to this other, it's not a pond, but it's a cross between a pond and like a little in-home river that goes all the way around the home. And then the shower. So you come up to the master suite, and of course they actually have a tree on the end of that, which they were going to, on the end of the bedroom, which they were going to expand out, because you cannot cut down a tree.
You're sure you weren't at the zoo at
No,
Woodland
because
Park?
you cannot cut down a tree up in Tahoe.
Oh, I see.
You cannot. That is, I mean, they've got,
built around it.
So you had to build around. I mean, it was breathtaking. And you're kind of thinking, am I really in a home? I mean, because the other side, of course, led into the master suite shower, and it was all done in rockery and fountains and greenery. And, I mean, it was yummy.
Yeah.
It definitely took you away.
Then how did you get in there?
Design work.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you just B&A or breaking and entering or something.
Something like, $28 million home was their vacation home.